Welcome back after the break. Let's shift focus to TBO Tek. The stock is in focus ever since the company has announced the acquisition of Classic Vacations for $125 million. To discuss about this, we have with us Ankus Nijhawan as well as Gaurav Bhatnagar. Gaurav and Ankush, welcome. First question to you about the acquisition first. What are the synergies you're looking after this acquisition and how much time do you think the deal will be concluded or it is already done?
No, thanks, Ankur and Mansi, for having us on the show. So we have signed a definitive agreement as of last week. We are expecting to close the transaction in first week of October. From a synergies perspective, Ankur, two ways to look at it. One, US is the largest, consumer of luxury travel, and our presence in US has been relatively small compared to all the other geographies. In fact, it was the last big market that we did not have significant presence in. So from that perspective, it's quite strategic for us. It gives us a market and entry in a sizable scale in a very important market. It's more than $100 million of revenue now coming from the US as a source market. The second bit to look at is that from a perspective of access to luxury travel supply, Classic is a very strong player, very well known in the space of booking luxury travel. If you compare the average daily rates for hotels booked on Classic versus TBO, we are at a roughly TBO is at about $250 a night, which is still premium and luxury, but Classic operates at almost $1,000 a night, which is significantly firmly in the realm of luxury travel. So this supply will be relevant for the overall TBO ecosystem as well. Specifically, Classic is a very strong supplier presence in Europe, which would be relevant for rest of the TBO ecosystem as well, because Europe is a globally relevant destination for us. So this acquisition adds gives us not only US entry, it also gives us a foothold in the luxury supply segment as well.
Absolutely. Ankush and Gaurav, first of all, many congratulations on the latest acquisition, and I'm sure it'll help grow the company the way you have targeted and set goals for. My question is to you, Ankush, and in particular, how does this acquisition expand presence in North America, and what is the addition to the reach of your audience addressable market?
So thank you, Mansi. I think what Gaurav just mentioned, Mansi, for us, we are now going to be a very meaningful player in one of the largest outbound markets in the world. It was relatively small for us, but I think with this acquisition, it is going to become a very meaningful play. And if we need to go to the numbers and expectations, what we have for our own selves, I think the acquisition is really going to help us building the US market. Plus, it sits in our theme. Luxury travel and outbound, premium hotel and travel is something which is our key focus. And I think Classic absolutely sits in our DNA and the theme what we built for TBO.
Right. Gaurav, I want to understand from you the ground situation. How are the clients behaving currently in the light of what is happening globally? And also, there are so many domestic factors. You would have seen GST. You would have seen the push which is coming in from government as far as the consumption boost is concerned. So what is your analysis of the current client situation?
Yeah, look, Ankur, I think overall, I would say in spite of, the big macroeconomic challenges that everybody has been talking around, especially with US talks of tariffs, in general, our view remains quite bullish on travel. We haven't seen any headwinds or any numbers which would indicate that people have withdrawn from spending on travel. In fact, with the GST reforms, I think the people will have more discretionary spend diverted towards travel. So we really welcome that move. Also, I think it's important to note that we operate in the premium to luxury segment, which is typically more resilient to short-term macroeconomic headwinds. And our company's view remains that this segment will continue to grow irrespective of what happens in the broader economy.
Agreed. Question to you, Ankush. Back home, now as we see that the GST on hotel rooms below 7,500 has been slashed from 12% to 5%. So how much of a spur are you expecting to see in demand for the services that you provide? And also, how are you seeing on-ground demand trends in travel and tourism at present?
I think for us, the GST cuts is kind of neutral, per se. But I think definitely when it comes to the budget hotel, definitely there's going to be an advantage. But Mansi, for us, it is always luxury travel, and 4 and 5 star hotels. That's our prime focus at TBO. But overall, I think the discretionary spend will definitely increase with the reduction of GST. So I think it's a welcoming news for the travel and tourism industry. Absolutely, yes. So I'm sure TBO and our other peers will also benefit with the GST cuts.
Right. I also want to understand from your strategic priorities for next 12 to 18 months. What have you jotted down?
Yeah, look, I think the broad theme for the company remains that we want to be the largest travel distribution platform when it comes to premium outbound travel. So no matter where, anywhere in the world, if somebody is traveling to, from their country to some other country focused on premium or luxury travel, then TBO wants to play a role over there. Our go-to-market strategy is that we aggregate demand via travel advisors and travel agencies worldwide. So that remains the broad strategy. So no change over there. Clearly, there'll be a lot more focus on US expansion now that we have a foothold and we have we have a base to build upon. But having said that, if you step back and look at growth in other markets, Europe is growing very nicely. South APAC is also growing very nicely, and Latin America had some headwinds because of again some local macroeconomic issues with taxation in Brazil. I think, but we've solved for that as well. So the company remains focused on its core principles of adding more travel agents on one side of the platform, anywhere in the world, and adding more luxury supply on the other side of the platform, and then making sure that we keep facilitating the transaction between demand and supply on the platform itself.
Absolutely. Ankush, the next 5 to 6 months are going to be really very crucial as festive demand will be seen, and along with the festive demand, the consumption spaces. And while we talk about consumption, it's travel, tourism, leisure as well, which will try and pick up and absolutely will pick up. Back then, it was the Mahakumbh Mela, which boosted travel in India to a larger extent. What are the next triggers according to you, and how are the plans of the company for the same?
I think the next quarter, I would say, especially the next 6 weeks with Diwali and the Shara break coming in, I think most of the India is going to be in a festive mood. So I think travel is absolutely going to pick up a lot of speed, both for short haul outbound travel and I would say some domestic travel. And then obviously followed by New Year and Christmas. So absolutely excited. And I think with this GST cut kicking in September, will definitely help further, in the festive season as well as the New Year. So absolutely looking forward to the season.
Gaurav, coming back to the acquisition you have made, the last acquisition you made of such kind was in 2023, if I remember correctly. And particularly about classic vacations, by when will this acquisition contribute positively to your books? What is your timeline?
Ankur, we are hoping to close the transaction in first week of October. It's a profitable business. We have already shared financials on the business, and it is a cash generative business. We would expect it to start delivering at an EBITDA level immediately. So we would expect an upside in the October, November, December quarter as well from the consolidation of Classic into the business. Uh, Keeping in mind that we have debt coming in to fund part of this transaction. So from an EBITDA to PAT, there'll be some dilution in terms of the interest payout that we'll be doing, and obviously some amortization of the purchase price of the acquisition. But beyond that, we do expect to be EPS accretive in the medium to long term.
Kushan Gaurav, thank you so much for giving your time and joining with us and talking to us about your latest developments and business expansion plans, and best wishes for the coming quarters to you and the company.
Thank you, Mansi.
Thank you so much. Thank you.